going to Austin, Texas was able to host their first SEC game at home against Mississippi State. And this game featured Arch Manning at quarterback. Quinn Ewers was out once again for another week. And, we saw some things from Austin that were a little surprising, but they came up with the win.
Yeah. Yeah, they came up with the win. And as someone who's always like SEC #1 conference, I wish that they had a better intro into the SEC instead of Mississippi State. Arch looked great. He came out, against UL Monroe. He had some of those mistakes, threw 2 picks. In this game, he was pretty flawless, like moved the ball around like we know that they can do.
Yeah.
Got everybody involved. DeAndre Moore had a great game. Isaiah Bond had a great game. I loved seeing what the Texas offense could do in this one.
Yeah, no, they definitely looked pretty good. Isaiah Bond is doing what he does. He's dominating per usual. They really were able to see a lot from Arch. I think he did have 1 turnover on the game, so that that's he's just kind of working through, typical sophomore things. And so what was a little bit concerning in this game, and I think it kind of lends to the question, was just we saw this offense was a little bit slowed down. We saw that for the first time, I think all year, that like Texas looked somewhat like they had some defects.
Yeah.
But they're still a bona fide contender to me. Make no mistake. Like, please, if you're watching or listening, like, let us know what you think. But this was the first game where the offense looked like there were some defects. The defense, to a true freshman quarterback, allowed him to kind of show a little bit. He had a rushing touchdown in the third quarter. Michael Van Buren from Mississippi State. So we saw them look a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure. And I preface all of this with like,
Texas
when I'm
won.
saying it, I'm trying. Texas is good. I'm just trying. I got to nitpick something, right? Like, there's things that they could improve on every week, and I think one of them in this one is the defense. Offense for one side, right? Like, I think it's the rushing side of the ball. Like, they had almost 200 yards, but without them breaking off some of those big plays, each guy kind of broke off a pretty big play at some point. 20 plus yards for each. They didn't really do too much on the ground aside from that. That really made up a chunk of their yards, and I think that lends to Mississippi State's defensive fault. So, when you're playing a team like Oklahoma in a couple weeks, you're not going to have the ability to do that on the ground. So you're going to have a good game from your quarterback, who I'm assuming at that time will be Quinn Ewers. So as a Texas fan, you got to feel really positive about what you've seen Arch Manning do, because that if Ewers misses more time, he missed time this year, he missed time year before last. You have a guy who can come in and play. Defensively, they let Mississippi State do some things, on the ground as well. 150 yards. So you don't want to see that from a team who's struggling. But again, you play to win the game. They won the game handedly. Like they didn't look like at any point it was a question.
Definitely. And I think that, fans might have been looking for them to beat Mississippi State, similar to how Florida beat Mississippi State. Right. And, we understand where a lot of people think Florida's at, and I think it's justified. So we didn't, see them, if you're money wise, cover, but we did see Texas look impressive offensively. Again, 26 for 31 for Arch, 324 yards, 2 tuds. DeAndre Moore, welcome to the wide receiver party. Alongside Isaiah Bond, he had 2 touchdowns. So still more of the same. Like we said, there's weapons everywhere offensively. The defense still did enough to win the game. They only gave up 13 points. So like, I almost feel like I'm talking as if like didn't win the game. I think they just set such a high standard, right? They were #1 in the nation, and so this is one of those games you expect them to win with some style points, and we didn't fully see it. And then, on the rushing side, just Jaden Blue's got to protect the ball, but you can have these type of games. It's still a win. And, Texas is still in that championship contention. They're still, to me, a top 4 team in the country. They are very scary to play. And the game against Georgia is getting more interesting after we get past the OU game coming up here.
Yeah. I think they could still be #1 in the AP poll right now. I think it's just who they put there. Alabama #1 instead of them. They could easily still be that #1 team. And if they beat Oklahoma and Georgia, like, it could flip that easy. And then Alabama plays Tennessee. It could go back and forth.
Yeah.
In my mind, I envision Texas and Alabama will be playing at the end of the season, just based on the caliber of the teams, the schedule that they have ahead. I like this Texas team, and I think with Quinn Ewers back there, they get even stronger. Nothing against Arch Manning, but you just have 2 guys who are so capable and would be starting quarterbacks on nearly every team.
Yep. No, I mean, definitely for sure, Arch and obviously Quinn. But you just got to get past this Georgia OU stretch, because then you got Vandy bye week, Florida de facto more or less bye week, Arkansas, UK, Texas A&M. So UK could be a tough game. Obviously, Texas A&M will be, that's your rival. You haven't played since maybe the Big 12 days. But get past Oklahoma, get past UGA. You're in the clear.
Yep. Yeah. No, the path is there. The path is there for them. So I'm looking forward to this Texas team and seeing what they can do and get a playoff bid in their first year as SEC team.
Yeah. So again, if you're listening or you're watching, like, let us know what you think of this performance. I mean, when you have that number one next to your name, pressure's a little bit higher, stakes are higher, people are more critical. They're still winning. Texas, you can say it. Texas is back. We don't have to hide that anymore. And so we want to hear from y'all what you think. Was this a strong performance? Did it leave you wanting more? Business as usual? But overall, I would say it was a good performance, and just there were some things to clean up. But if that's what you see with your backup quarterback in the game, I think you're gonna be all right. I think you're gonna be all right.